All right, I can see that people are already here watching. Let me reduce my music. All right, thank you very much. You're welcome here. My name is Wendy Ologe. It's our Tuesday class. Hi, Ruth Baba. I don't think there is any day that have been anybody that have actually gotten on our YouTube channel before Ruth Baba. Ruth Baba is usually the very first person to log in. Thank you for being here, ma'am. It's so good to have you. All right. And if you are watching me from Facebook, we're streaming live on our Facebook channel. Hi, Gloria. Happy New Year to you. Thank you for being here. If you're watching us on Facebook, I am sure that you can already see me. All right. Please confirm that you can see me right on Facebook. All right. Right. So if you can see me, please do let me know. On Facebook, I can see no chat. I can see people joining in, but I can see chat. Hi, Ade doing? Happy New Month. Thank you so much for being here. Please, Facebook, do let me know that you can see me so that we can just take off. Today, we're talking about raising godly children who thrive. This topic is pretty, very dear to my heart. Hi, Etimame. Thank you for being here, Unity. All right, awesome. Please, if you're live, you can tell me where you're watching me from. You can tell me where you're watching me from. All right, I'm streaming live from the capital city, Abuja. Tell me where you're watching me from. My name is Wendy Ologe, and the founder of the Intentional Parent Academy. Hi, Rita. Hi, Adewumi. Rita Osai. Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching me on YouTube, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, for being here. Thank you to the TIP community. I see you all. If you're just joining me, if you're catching a replay, because I know that quite a number of people are going to catch replay eventually, just put hashtag replay. Is it your first time watching me on this broadcast every Tuesday? Kindly put in hashtag first time watching my live broadcast. So today we're looking at raising godly children who thrive. How do you raise godly children who thrive? I met a parent recently, right? And this parent, you know, said to me, I really would like to learn a two or a thing or two, but as regards sex education. But I am a godly parent, and I want my children to be raised in a godly way. So I do not believe that my children should know about sex. Now, this parent says she's godly. Of course, that makes her, she doesn't believe her children should learn sex. Now, that's by the way, right? I'm starting this conversation with this story because I do not understand our interpretation. Every single one of us will have different interpretation of what it means really to raise godly children. But I tell you one thing, I am also pretty much very sure that every single one of us, we are all looking at one thing, being able to raise children that will thrive, right? So some of us do not believe in quotes in raising godly children. But if you don't, just know that this broadcast is also for you because we are also going to be talking about children who thrive. Okay, so our aim is to raise children who are godly, who respect authority, who value what is right. Now that's our aim. Now that's a very major part of where we want to go to. Raising godly children in today's society can actually be quite frightening. You agree with me that there's a lot that we're dealing with today. So much that sometimes you're wondering what exactly is happening. I'm sure my father-in-law is here in one of the platforms. He says to me, I get scared when I see people having children because so many of the times I'm actually, worried that parents do not know what they are faced with in today's world. Now, a lot of the times, it's become very obvious that what we are dealing with in the 21st century is bigger than what we can even imagine. Okay, so raising godly children, it's tough because we live in a society right now where wrong things are called right. Oh, yes. Things that are supposed to be named as wrong are beginning to sound right. We're living in a society where smartphones have replaced human interactions. That's a big deal. We live in a society where lots and lots of families are broken. So you will agree with me that it's become even tougher to be able to raise godly children. It's a fast changing world, and parenting is tough. So I say it's a tough time to raise children, and it's equally a tough time to be a child. Either way, they are tough times. That's one of my quotes in Connect to Correct. It's difficult to be a child. It is as well difficult to also be a parent. So to raise a wholesome child, it's never by accident. You cannot raise a wholesome child. You cannot raise a godly child in today's world by accident. Right? It takes a great deal of intentionality. Intentional parenting. This is why we have the name, the intentional parent. Intentional parenting is what launches you to your ability to actually raise a child who is godly. It takes a great deal of intentional parenting to provide what is required for the 21st century child. So a child who's emotional, physical, mental health is not catered for will struggle, even when that child knows God. Let me say that again. A child whose emotional, physical, mental health is not cared for, is not catered for, will struggle, even when that child is godly. So raising a godly child must be holistic. Praying for your children is very important, but trust me, it is equally important for us to strike a balance. If only prayer was enough, the sons of Eli wouldn't have strayed. Because you trust me, Eli would have prayed Eli would have been a prayerful man. Hi, mom. Eli would have been a prayerful man. Very prayerful man. All right? But yet, Eli had children who did. Now, it's very obvious that raising godly children is not all about just praying for our children. If that is it, then people like Manoah was Samson's father. Permit me, I'm going to be doing a lot of biblical quotes today. Manoah was Samson's father. It means that people like Manoah wouldn't have bothered to ask, what does it take to raise my child? I tell this story again. Samson was a child in the Bible that was actually prophesied to be mighty. The angel had come to Samson's mother to say, you're going to have a child. This child is going to be mighty. This child is going to do exploits. This is going to happen, this, that, and that, and that. And she was too excited. And she never did ask any question. Many of the times when we have children, the first thing that actually comes to mind when we have children, the first thing that comes to mind is the excitement. We get carried away and we never actually get to ask the questions that are required for us to be able to, do the right things that we need to do. So when she was so excited, her husband came back, she told her husband, oh, the angel said we were having a child. And the husband, I said, oh, this child is going to be mighty. This child is going to be this child is going to be that. And the husband asked her a question. What I'm sharing with you is in the Bible. And the husband asked her a question. And he said to her, did you ask this angel what it would take from us to be able to actually raise this mighty man that is coming to us? How many times have you ever sat down to ask yourself questions? Why am I raising this child? Are you raising this child to just become a doctor? No, that's not why you're raising the child. You're raising this child apparently for purpose fulfillment. For you to know whether you have been able, succeeded in raising the child that will thrive, what you need to check to know if you succeeded is a child who can actually fulfill destiny. So if you're looking for how to hide Madam Chinyeriwala, if you're looking for how to quantify, how to get to a point where I am, what I'm supposed to be doing, am I doing it? You need to ask yourself, is my child fulfilling purpose? Am I taking my child to the point where my child is looking at purpose and not just what I want them to be? Raising a godly child means that at some point, you wouldn't matter in the equation. Many times I hear parents say, I just want to raise a godly child. I just want a child who knows God. When your child begins to actually thrive in the way that they should go, will you actually be able to contend? So when the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he grows up, he will not depart from it. The Bible didn't say, train up a child in the way you want him to go. But many times what we find is that people train their children in the way they want them to go, not the way the child should go. They're not the same thing. So when you're raising a godly child, these things should come to your mind. A child who will fulfill destiny will question the values that you have at some point. We question the things that you're doing at some point. We question the things that is happening to them at some point. Are you prepared to really want to raise that godly child you want your child to be? Who is a godly child? Now, that's the question. Who is this godly child? Is it a child that prays? Let me see your definition of a godly child in the comment section. When you say a child is godly, what does it mean to you? All right? What does a godly child mean to you? What does a godly child mean to you? I'm going to be sharing with you, hi, Edu, good to have you here. I'm going to share with you some few points that I put down, but I want you to tell me what you think or what a godly child means to you. What does godly children, what does it mean when somebody says, oh, you have such a godly child? What does it mean to you? Right? While we're waiting for you to share that comment in the comment section, if you're just joining us, please do tell us where you're watching us from, and also do tell us your name. All right? Let me take some water while we wait for your responses. A godly child is someone awesome who has a fear of God in him and recognizes God in him. Thank you, Ugonna Genevieve Iwabu, for that response. We're still waiting for what a godly child means. A godly child is a child-focused child and puts God first. I love the responses. Yes, keep it coming. Love it from Abuja. Hi, good to have you here. YouTube parents, we're waiting for you. Hi, Mary from Jos. Right? Tell us what it means for you to have a godly child. Tell us what it means for you to have a godly child. We're waiting for you. All right? Tell us what it means for you to have a godly child. A godly child is a child who understands her purpose in God, believes in God for the fulfillment of her purpose. A godly child is a child that is raised according to God's principles, standards, not that of the parent, the society, the traditions, and the likes. Thank you so much, Edu, for that. A godly child is one who fears God and does not live contrary to acceptable norms. A child who is emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, and sexually balanced. I love that. All right. Thank you so much. Many times when we're told to describe godly children, we say a godly child is a child that has the fear of God. But that's not all there is to a godly child. That's not all there is to a godly child. Yes, a godly child is the one that has a fear of God, but that is not the intention of God, giving us that term. The well-rounded child, the child who is emotionally balanced, the child who is spiritually balanced, the child who is mentally put together, the child who is sexually balanced, that is a godly child. Yes, obeying the commandments of God is key, but that is not all there is to godliness. The Bible talks about godliness and talks about excellence. Many times when I see Christians, they say, oh, God will just do it. There was something that Paul wrote in the New Testament. Paul said that it is not just, he was saying about being able to, reach your goal. And he said you must be temperate in all things. Go and look for the meaning of temperate in all things. In all things. That's what Paul said. So it means that your godliness is limited if all you do is just sit down and just say, all I need to do is just obey God. There are a lot of things that have happened to Christian children, Christian parents, that shouldn't have happened to them. But because we do not fully understand the concept of raising a godly child. I had a conversation with someone I know, and he woke up one morning and he called me and he said to me, he said, Coach, there was something you taught me, somebody that I mentor. He said, there was something you taught me some few days ago. I've not been able to sleep. And he said, because I grew up just being a good boy, that's all I knew. I didn't know how to do any other thing. And all my parents wanted me to be was a good boy. If you are not raising a child that can balance, that can do other things, that can navigate their world, you're just raising a good child. That is not a godly child. Unity, which part of the scriptures are you asking me for reference, please? That is not a godly child. A godly child is one that is able, right? We're going to be sharing who the godly child really is. A godly child is not the child that you shield from the world in the name of godly parenting. That's not godly parenting. Your aim is not to shield your child. Your aim is to give your children knowledge to understand how they can navigate their world. How they can navigate their world. So a godly child is not, a good child is not just a godly child. Or a child you're raising to just pray is not just a godly. That is not what qualifies godliness. Your child that is godly must be temperate in all things. All right? So when we talk about godliness, there's nothing about God that is below standard. So when you tell me that you're raising a child who can fit into a proper society, and you're saying because you're raising a godly child, that is an error in itself. Godly children are not raised to be isolated. Godly children are raised to be able to actually change their world. How do people who do not understand their world change their world? How do you begin to help parent children who do not understand how the world works to change their world? I remember those days, it was all about, in fact, when I had this conversation with this mentee of mine, and he said, all I knew how to do as a born-again young child was just to go to church and just pray. No other thing. He said, just become a good child. Just pray. Just make sure you obey the word of God. There is nothing, absolutely nothing about God that is below standard. So when you tell me that because you're raising a godly child, then your child can just be not be able to be emotionally balanced, then it's okay because you're reading the Bible in your home. That is an error in itself. So godly children are not meant to. God is an excellent God. When I talk about this topic, it's very dear to my heart. So it pains me that Christians can just be laid back because we think that we're reading the Bible. Oh, we just read the Bible and we just say, no, we've read the Bible. My child just obeys the commandments of God and that's it. No way. Your child must be a child that can fit into the society where we live in. The moment you're raising a child that can't fit in here, you have failed in being able to raise a godly child. Your child do not know how to, take decisions. Your child do not know what it is about their body sexually that they need to know. And you say you're raising a godly child. No way. That is not a godly child. So for your child to be a godly child, your child must be able to navigate their world. Your child must be able to understand. The Bible says that we are not of this world. But if the same, that Bible didn't say we do not live here. We live in the world. So it means that we need to understand how the world works. I remember, hi mom, I remember that when Paul, I like to use Paul the apostle a lot because I read about Paul a lot. I remember that when Paul, there was a point in time when Paul wanted to actually do some stuff. He was a radical believer. So Paul came to change a lot of things. I remember that at some point, the Holy Spirit had to make him go back to Peter, the apostles, Peter, John, and the rest of them, to actually ask for permission for something. That's what godliness is about. Godliness is not about the things. You're not just being stupid. That's not godliness. Paul understood this. And at some point when he was just going, this way, they had to actually call back, right? Turn back to go and ask questions. Who is the godly child? The godly child you're raising, can they fit into this world? Do they understand how to create relationships that thrive? Or they are just isolated because they are born again? Are you raising a child who cannot make money because they are born again? Are you raising a child who cannot understand rules and consequences because they are born again? I see that a lot of the times. Oh, yes. Godliness is not raising a child who can navigate their world. You must understand that you are launching adults. You are not babying children. Somebody should write that for me. You are launching adults into the world. You are not babying children. That's what you're doing in this time. Right? And you need to understand that when we talk about godliness moves away, right? Godliness encompasses all things. How godly. You see Christians who are badly behaved because they know God. Who told you that God approves of such Christianity? Who told you that because you're born again, you're licensed to just behave anyhow? No, you're not. So, being born again, we must begin to teach our children that godliness means to be, well-rounded, means to be able to understand that you are in a place, you are not just speaking, you're not just speaking things in the random. They're not just picking things around them. Oh, yes, godliness is profitable unto all things. All things. And when the Bible talks about all, the Bible means all with nothing left. So if there's something left in the way you're raising your child to be godly, it is a failed godliness kind of raising a child. So when we say, oh, we're raising, what the Bible wants us to do is to raise godly children. We're not raising stupid children. We're raising children who can change their world. It's only godly children that can change the world. How many of our children are in that space changing the world? Permit me today, I'm particularly talking to Christian parents. How many of them are particularly able to actually stand and own their own? We need to begin to think in that way. We need to begin to think about godliness as profitability in everything. So when next you say, oh, it's when yes you say, oh no, this thing is just it's not how it's done and all that. Begin to think again. Godliness means that you're ready to learn to help your children. If you read the Bible, you will begin to see how Paul came in, and Paul was very radical. I like Paul because I like to think outside the box. Paul came into the scene, and one of the things that Paul did was to change the way the apostles saw things. Remember, these apostles were the ones that saw Jesus. It is the same Christian parents that have the belief that, all we need to do is pray. Who told you that? Who told you that all you need to do is pray? You can't just pray for you to raise a godly child. Never. And there's nowhere in the Bible. The Bible said, God is profitable unto all things. All things. When you read the book of Daniel, the Bible talks about how Daniel, was reading and was able to be relevant in 60 years. That is godliness. Relevant in a government in 60 years. Do you know what that means? That is godliness. When you raise godly children, they occupy a scene and it changes. Shielding your children from what is happening in the world is not raising godly children. It's not raising godly children. All you're doing is just, putting your this thing away. Sitting down and quoting "spare the rod and spoil the child" is not your license to raising godly children. In fact, that is just you. That is just you in one corner, just deceiving yourself. Because I tell you for free, godliness, it's not just about the child who is, humble, who is humane. No. When we study the people, right, in the scriptures, the way I read my own Bible is that I bring out a particular man and I begin to study. I studied the life of Paul, and I understood that a lot of the times our being averse to knowledge is a problem. They come out and tell you, you're supposed to teach your children sex education. Oh, you're supposed to learn this. Oh, you're supposed to buy these books. You say, no, the Bible is our only manual. Who told you so? This is why in the Christian circle, we're not making a lot of, we're not looking at things in a lot of ways. Go and read the story of Daniel and how, the Bible recorded how Daniel was a learned person. The Bible in Job said, I will seek my knowledge from afar. I will seek my knowledge from afar. There are people who have been sent in this time to help you understand some things. So when we say things like the Bible is our only manner, does it mean that there are people are not being spoken to by the Spirit in our time? That's what we're trying to say. That's what we're trying to say. So we're sitting back to say God is not alive in our time. It's only in the Bible time that God was alive. And that is the lie from the pit of hell. You cannot just sit back and just tell me, oh, the only manual there is, oh, it's only the Bible I will read to train my children. If you do that, you fail. Because for every generation, there are people called to be able to change the world in every aspect of the world. The Bible said that the sons of Issachar understood the times. Many times when I listen to parents argue, I just, I am pained because we are not understanding the times. So when we talk about godliness, anytime you hear godliness, anytime you hear anything, anytime you begin to, look at things, look at it as godliness. When you sit in the community, just tell yourself, this is godly. This is godly. You must be open. You must be able to read to know. Whether you like it or not, God sends people in every generation to make a change. Whether you agree with me or not. And when it comes to spaces like this, I tell you, some of us were sent. Some of the things we share are not shared just because we want to share something with you. We're sharing it because there's something we have seen. So godliness, when we say, oh no, it's not nothing, it's happening now and all that, I tell you, the understanding of the times is what we need today. That was the only way David could ascend the throne, because the sons of Issachar understood the times. What do you know about the times? What do you know about the times? If many of us were here when Jesus came, we would have argued about Jesus. That's the truth. If many of us were here when Jesus came, many people would have still argued about Jesus. Just the same way the Pharisees and the Sadducees, kept saying, oh no, Jesus came. Who is he? What is he talking about? You must be open to learning. You must be open to learning. Open your heart to be able to absorb what the times are saying per time. You cannot, I say it again, you cannot only raise your children by reading the Bible and praying. No. There are many other things that you must learn for you to be able to raise a godly child. What is it that you need to do? You must start by parenting with a plan. I talk about parenting with a plan every day, right? And people talk about it, and people look at me and they're like, parenting with a plan. Oh yes. Do you know that thing that Samson's father did was parenting with a plan? Parenting with a plan. So you need to sit back. The Bible tells us that for a vision, for you to run with a vision, you need to actually be able to write it down. I told our foster daughter recently, and I said, I was telling her to write something, and she was like, oh, I remember. I said, when the Bible says write it so that you may run, it means that when it's not written, you might not be able to run. I want us to begin to open our minds, even when we read the scriptures. I want us to open our minds to what the scriptures are saying in this time. Not what the scripture said in this time. In this time, what is the scripture saying? You must parent with a plan. Don't tell me, oh no, our parents didn't have to. That was a time. In this time today, it is a need of the hour. It is a need of the hour. There is no two ways about it. In those times, it was okay. Stop telling me, man, in our time. What is in your parents' time? That doesn't make sense. Believe you me, you need to begin to understand that in this time, things are different. And if you're not doing it differently, do you know why the dinosaurs went extinct? They couldn't adapt to change. That's why the dinosaurs went extinct. Nothing more. If you're not able to actually adapt to change, new knowledge, I see a lot of us fighting. New knowledge, we're fighting, we're boxing ourselves. If you're not able to change, you will be swallowed in it. So you must constantly be open to learn, to unlearn, to relearn. You must parent with a plan. Part of what we do in the inner circle is to be able to craft a plan and look at it, and begin to work with it. So when you tell your children things like, oh, in our time, these things didn't happen, you're just being culturally unintelligent. And I tell you, that's a failure to raising a child, a godly child who will thrive. All right? So, another thing that you need to note on your journey as a parent in the 21st century and also raising a godly child is love is time. Love is time. So when people say, oh, I don't have time, I hear parents say, I don't have time to go for any course on parenting. Oh, I don't have time to go for, you're missing the need of the hour. That's what it is. So I don't have time to do this. Oh, I don't have time to really spend with my children. Love is about time. I want somebody to write it. Love is defined as time for your children. And if that is not there, then there is no love. You need to understand that when we say raising godly children, why do we have pastors' children consistently failing in the assignment? Why? Does it mean that these pastors are not praying? No, they are praying. But unfortunately, they are only praying. You can't only pray. If you think that your only strategy should be that you are praying and compassion, trust me, I'm a prayer warrior. You don't want to see where I'm praying. But trust me, I understand also that if you're going to be temperate in all things, according to Paul, then you must put in work in all things. You must put in work in all things. None of the sides is going to be left to chance. So you need to dig for treasures. You must carve out time. Carve out time for training. Carve out time to read books. We talk about books. You just see them, you pass, you say things like, what are they saying? All these books. Do I need to read books to be able to train a child? That is you not understanding the times. The times are here, the times are changed, and you must recognize that people are called for a time. Another thing that you must recognize is that your marriage, if you're going to raise godly children, your marriage takes a front seat. One of the best things you can give a child is a happy home. Your marriage takes a front seat. I had a conversation with a 23-year-old who has been doing drugs for the past 12 years. And for the past 5 years, before she went to school and all that. The trigger was a home that was unsettled. You cannot claim to be raising godly children and you have a war front in the house. No way. If your marriage is having issues, fix it. If it's unfixable, don't be in that environment. You're not doing any good to your child. So when you tell me, oh, it's because of my children I'm here, everything toxic, forget it. You're not doing them any good. All right? So you must make your home a safe haven. You must make your home a safe haven. If you're raising godly children, your home will need to be a safe haven. No matter how you pray and your relationship with your spouse is dicey, you're going to raise hypocrites. You're going to raise hypocrites. It doesn't matter how much you tell your children to pray. It doesn't matter how much you say you want to build on them. They are just going to end up, what are they saying? You're going to end up being two-faced. You must understand this aspect. Another thing that you want to take a look at is routines. Boundaries create security for children, and children thrive with routine, structure, and consistency. Children who have routine, structure, and consistency they're actually the children that actually survive in our time. So a lot of the times you hear people say things like, the child has done what they need to do. I'm praying for the child. I'm praying for my child. Do you know that I'm praying for my child is not just a strategy? Prayer is on itself. It is something you must consider. Prayer is a responsibility. Now, let me clarify this. I'm praying for the child is not a strategy. Prayer is a responsibility. You as a parent. Prayer is a responsibility. So when you sit back, you tell yourself, I am responsible for praying for my children. So saying I'm praying for this, it's neither here nor there. So when you use prayer to subject your responsibility, that is you failing. That is you failing because you want God to come down and come and do your job. Like my pastor will say, Bishop David Oyedebo, any faith, any religion that makes God absolutely responsible is an irresponsible faith. Let me say that again. Any faith that makes God absolutely responsible is an irresponsible faith. Prayer is a responsibility. So when people say you share post on the group, yes, someone say just go and pray for the child. That's you making your response. It's just like saying just go and feed the child. That's what it means. That's what prayer is. Prayer is like food. That's what it is. So prayer is a responsibility. It's not a strategy. You need a strategy. So as you're praying, your prayer could be, God, show me what it is that I need to do. When you say, God, just let my child stop. Let my child stop. Let my child stop. So when you say, I'm praying for my child, it's not thank you, Etima. Yes, don't boast with it. It's a responsibility. So when you say I'm praying for my child, I'm praying for the child. Let everything work out. I'm praying. That's all I'm doing. It is your responsibility. When you say I'm praying for my child, it just means it's the same thing as saying I'm paying school fees for my child. The same thing as saying I'm feeding my children. It is just your responsibility. And you cannot take off and substitute it for strategies that you need to actually work out. Because, like I said earlier, and I quote Bishop Oyedebo again, any faith that gives God the absolute responsibility is an irresponsible faith. So think about it in your parenting. When something goes wrong and all you do is pray, then you are just being irresponsible. All you're doing is just giving God the responsibility to do everything. Why not change your prayer requests to God, show me what I need to do to get out of this situation? That is key. Prayer is key, but never a substitute. I was listening to Bishop share something. He said, if prayer is all you need, why don't you wake up in the morning and say, God, today you're going to dress me. So I'm going to just take my bath. If you don't dress me, I'll walk out like that. I tell you for free, you will go to work naked. Because it's never God's responsibility to wear you clothes. Why are you not sitting down to wait for God to put on clothes for you? Because there is a responsibility for you, even in your spirituality. So you can't just sit back and tell me all I need to do is to pray. No, that's not all you need to do. You must read. You must put up, things. You must learn. It is your responsibility to do that. All right. Another thing that you must note is that the Bible and prayer must be present daily. It's a daily thing. Like I said, it is a responsibility. You're not doing anything big while you claim you're raising a godly child, and you just say, oh no, all we do is just read the Bible and pray. They're not. It's part of. It's like eating. It's like eating. It's like eating food. That's what it should be like. All right. It's actually Chinyerobina. You buy food and ingredients and start speaking in tongues so that God can cook it for you. No, it is your responsibility. Yeah. So one thing that I want to say is that discipleship is the primary responsibility of a parent, not a pastor, not a teacher. Stop telling me, oh, my children, they are teaching them in so. Discipleship is the primary responsibility of a parent. Discipleship is the primary responsibility of a parent. So you need to take up this responsibility. You need to begin to redo the things that you're currently doing. So when you say, I am raising a godly child, on your journey, if you fail in raising this godly child, you will be held responsible. God is going to hold us accountable. Whether you agree with me or you don't, we will be held accountable. So you must understand that you need to train your child. It's your responsibility to train your child in the way they should go. Sometimes you don't even know how they should go. Many times, not sometimes. Many times you don't know how they should go. Ask questions. Learn. Read. Read. Stop sitting back and just saying, oh no, this thing must be spiritual. I shared a very vivid example. Yesterday we shared a chat on Sibling Rivalry. I shared it, a story that my cousin had shared with me. And I shared it and I put in a lot of things. And I said, this is a fundamental issue on sibling rivalry. People came and said, oh, this must be a spiritual attack. In fact, they have wickedness in their bloodline. Oh, this. Let me tell you what we do in the inner circle. We bring in those things that you think is a spiritual attack, but we sit down. It's our responsibility to dissect it and begin to bring out the real issues and deal with it. What we did throughout yesterday in the inner circle was to look at that story and not just say it's a spiritual attack. Oh, these things are spiritual. Oh, no, this thing is not. It's about people. People did them something. No, that's a lazy man's idea of how to parent. When something goes wrong, instead of you taking responsibility, you say, you cast it on, on spirituality. You need to sit back and begin to look at the things. What can I do? God can only help you as much as your knowledge bank is. Because God does not do magic, God will bring things to you according to what you know. That's how God does not, God will not, it won't bother. It's just like saying, God has the capacity. God do have the capacity to actually say, I'm going to give you a child. I will throw that child down, and your child will become a big, person right now. God has the capacity to do that, but He will not. He won't do it. Do you know why He won't do it? He's the God to every single person. He believes in process. What is your process about? What exactly is your process about? Are you just sitting back and just thinking, oh, I'm raising godly children, God is going to do it? God ain't gonna do nothing. Newsflash. God is going to wait for you to be able to take in the knowledge that you need. And God will meet you at the point of your knowledge. The question you want to ask yourself today is, what do I know? By the time we were done with that particular post in the inner circle yesterday, we were able to decipher for real that these things are actually the errors that we make from now. And everybody took home strategies to begin to work. That's how you sit back and take responsibility. When you now pray, your prayer will make sense. Because God will be able to meet you at the level of your knowledge. The question today should be that you're asking yourself, God, what do I know? What do I know? So God can never leave what you know and just come and it will be magic. No. What do you know? What do you know? Yes, Thank you, Ogalari. Ogalari is my Ogals. Thank you for being here, sir. All right. So yes, what you know determines what you have capacity for. That's what it is. So when you sit back and say, what are they saying? I'll just read the Bible. That's where God will meet you. The point, the level of your knowledge. While I was writing my latest book, Walking Your Child Through Puberty, the first parent who had access to it came to me and said to me, do you know that a lot of things here were the things that happened to me as a child? And that was the knowledge, the level of the knowledge that my own parents had. So your problems will be solved according to the level, according to what you know. According to what you know. Parents read, that book, and a lot of them, reached out to me and said, if I knew what I knew today, there are too many errors I wouldn't have made. Seek knowledge. Stop arguing. Seek knowledge. Be like the sons of Issachar. Understand what the times is saying. Open up your mind to learn. There's no how people who are learning, you are going to just like God is not partial. When you look at the story of Paul, do you know why Paul did a lot of exploits? Much more than the disciples who were with Jesus. Paul was a seeker of knowledge. When you read his journey, he will at every point in time say, can you please bring my parchments? Parchments are books. What books are you reading? How many parenting books have you read? And you think that it's just going to be magic. Nothing works except you work it. Nothing works except you work it. Take responsibility. Stop the blame game. Nobody's going to be there. Nobody cares, really. Stop blaming people. What you need to do, or stop blaming your child even. Oh, it's this child that did it. It is you. You lack knowledge and you need to seek it. It's as simple as that. I wrote in my book, Connect to Correct, that knowledge is a prerequisite for raising the child in the 21st century. So if you must raise a godly child, then you must understand that godliness is profitable unto all things. All things. When you leave some part and leave out the other, then that is not you raising a godly child. So do you want to raise a godly child really? Then you want to get in to learn. You want to begin to put yourself in the process. Today is the 1st of December. By 10th of December, our book, Walking Your Child Through Puberty, will go off the shelf at pre-order price and begin to sell at enormous price. The book and the workbook cost 6,500 naira. But at pre-order price, you're getting it for 4,500 naira. See, don't listen to all this and walk away and say, Rema, yay. Get to work. Get to work. Whatever it is that you need to do, get to work. When I listen to the parents in our inner circle, program, right? Somebody's asking how they can join the inner circle program. Tobe will send you, share my details with you, and then you chat with me directly. The inner circle program actually is a program that is pretty very much dear to me. It's a program that was given to me by inspiration. So a lot of the things that happened for us in the inner circle program, one of the reasons why the inner circle program is, we have Christians, we have Muslims, but my belief is we can all raise godly children, right? And we must begin to look at these things critically. So as Christians, we must conquer our world. Then we need to be deliberate about the things that we are doing. We can't just live this careless life and just decide that, oh, it's just the same thing. No, it's not the same. The times are no longer the same. So if you want to join the inner circle, you can put the inner circle in the comment section and you'll get a response. If you also want to get the book, any of my books, we have Connect to Correct. I think I have a copy of Connect to Correct here. Discipline That Works. I don't know if I do have a copy. Yeah, I do. So I have a copy of Discipline That Works, Connect to Correct. My latest book, Walking Your Child Through Puberty, is going to be launched on the 10th of December. We currently have almost 400 pre-ordered copies. if you've read any of my works, of course, you will know that when you get any of these books, it's going to change the way you look at things. It's going to change the way you think about, raising, children generally. So my aim is actually to change the narrative in parenting. That's my aim. My aim is to look at what we are currently doing and change it and begin to become more intentional. When the Intentional Parent Academy came, I didn't choose it. If I was going to choose a name, I would say Wendiologe Parenting Academy or something. But no, it came, the intentional parenting. The intentional parenting has more meaning than what you just read. All right? I'm not going to come here to, begin to share a lot of the things, inspirationally. But today I was moved by some of the things I heard, so that to be able to share the topic on how to raise godly children. If we must raise godly children, then Christian parents, we need to stand up. We need to stop this thing of I'm just reading. I'm just reading the Bible. That the Bible is the only manual I know. That is an error in itself. You want to redo a lot of the things that you are currently doing, and begin to look at things differently. Begin to ask yourself questions. What do I need to do to actually be able to do things different? It's okay for us to claim that these things are, there. But the truth of the matter remains that we need to do more. Someone is asking me how they can get my book. My books are on Amazon. The only book that is not on Amazon right now is my new book. But every single one of my book, right? Every single one of my book is on Amazon. All right. So let's begin to let's get to work. Let's get to work. Christianity is not religion. Raising godly children is not religion. I think it's not about you trying to claim something, or you trying to do be hypocritical about something. No, we're talking about changing our world, and for us to be able to do that, then we must do more. We must do more. There's a lot more to do. All right, I can see some questions, so that I will be able to also respond to them right away. All right. Somebody in our okay. If you're watching me on YouTube and you want the details for our inner circle, please see that this thing on the see on the screen, the details. Just call or send a WhatsApp message to that number, and you will be able to get my books. The new book is in both soft copy and hard copy. Someone is asking. The new book is in both soft copy and hard copy. So you will be able to get in any of the books that you want. So all my works are created in both, so you can get on with it. And I also want to say this: I've not written any book that wasn't shown me exactly what it is that I need to really talk about the time. And when you do read them, you're going to understand that these are the things that we need to actually begin to look at. Now, I need to honestly parenting to stand up and be deliberate in raising children. Thank you, Chinua Day, and thank you, my yard people. My yard people are the parents in the Inner Circle program for 2020. We currently have over 200 people right now in the new class, yes, for 2021, and we're shutting down registration. Actually, the Inner Circle the registration shuts down in this week. So after this week, we're not registering any other. We wanted to stop at 200, but we had a lot of people swamping us. So we left it open until the end of this week, and we're done. And part of what it is that the Inner Circle also provides for you is a journal that you'll be able to, a journal that you'll be able to put down a lot of things, and then be able to create your plan. So creating a parenting plan is a progressive thing. It's not a one-time thing. And anybody who tells you that you need to come now, that they need to show you something, in the immediate time, I tell you for free, that is not true. Parenting is about processes. I heard, one of those days, I was reading the scriptures, and what I saw was parenting is not about tips and hacks. It came from me. It's me that have been saying it. Parenting is about tips. It's not about tips and hacks. It's about process. What is your process? What is your current, what are you doing for time? The Bible says it's precept upon precept. So there's no fire brigade approach. When people come to me and they say, oh, coach, I have this problem. What do I need to do now? There is nothing like that. There is nothing like that. There's nothing you want to do now. It doesn't have, I don't have it. That's a magic wand. I don't have it. All I have is the process. That's what I'll teach you. And you need to work. You need to work. So when you think that because, once you join the inner circle, everything becomes perfect. Ask the parents in the inner circle. I think they are the most hardworking parents I've seen ever because they need to combine a lot of things. So please just bear in mind that you have work to do. And for you to do that work, you need to stand up. You need to take responsibility. Nobody's going to take that responsibility for you. All right. Kathy Kate said, I haven't recovered from reading the book Connect to Correct. Thank you for that recommendation. Nigeria, my books are on Connect to Correct, hard copy. My books are right on Amazon, and you will be able to get them. The latest book, the new book, Walking Your Child Through Poverty, will be on Amazon by 10th of December, God willing. And we're working tirelessly, on it. And I remember this video just recently that I shared, and the pastor was saying something about that grace is God's responsibility, but that discipline is your responsibility. I love that quote. When you're not disciplined, it will make a mess of the grace of God that is in your life. So when you see people and say, oh, this person is in grace, just bear in mind that that person has also taken a responsibility of discipline as well. So without that responsibility, you make a mess. You make grace look like it doesn't exist. But grace abounds to all, to all. The question you want to ask yourself is, this grace that is given to me, what am I doing with it? All right. So if you want to join us in the inner circle, all you need to do, like I said, is simply put inner circle and you will get details. Topper will share with you details on how to reach, how to get the details for inner circle. If you're watching me on YouTube, please simply put the number down. I'm in Nigeria, and you will be able to reach out to me and we will talk from the inner circle. All right. Somebody said, my question is, why is my child a vegetarian? I have been wondering. Unity, I don't know what that means. I don't know what it is that you're sharing, but I'm not a physician. So you might also want to, ask questions why he doesn't eat other things. Is there a reason, right? So you need to also take a look at that and put that into consideration. All right. So and meanwhile, for those of you, the over 200 parents who have registered in the inner circle for 2020, we're going to reach out to you before in the first week in December, and then we will start with our goal setting classes in this year. I usually say that you don't prepare for war when you get to war. You prepare for war even before you get to war. So yes, our year already started. So we're already, putting a lot of things into process so that by the time we all sit back, right? We all sit back in our homes by January. We're just running. Every single one of them is running. I can see a lot of people sending me chats. Please do hold on. I will respond to you as soon as we're done. All right. And if you've also made payments and you're looking for me to confirm, please bear with me. We will confirm to you as soon as everyone and my team is here. So as soon as we're done, we will confirm and give you details. All right. So after today, we're shutting down the inner circle registration because already I can see that the slots are almost all the slots are taken. So probably we'll shut it down by registration by today. So if you don't register today, we'll probably not have space to actually accommodate you. So please send details. We're going to do first come, first come on first comes and what do they call it? basis, right? Okay, first come basis, right? So please, just okay. Please, Chinyerobina, help. Thank you so much. I can see that you already have the details, right? Thank you so much, everybody. I don't think I can see any question, but if you have a question, okay, we're already 5 minutes over. If you have a question that you want to ask me, you can reach out to me and ask me those questions. I will respond to you. I am very responsive when it comes questions are directed to me. My team many times also, very, very on top of their toes, doing a lot of things to ensure that we're doing what we need to do for this generation and for a time like this. One thing that you must take home today is that when it comes to raising children who are godly, you must understand that you must go home with a thought that godliness is profitable unto all things. So never sit back and say, "Oh, I am just, I am just sitting down and just doing what I need to do, right? Or I'm just praying and every other thing should go bad." That's not godliness. So when you remember that godliness is profitable unto all things, please always put that into consideration. Thank you again and again. I hope that this class was profitable to you because, like I said, godliness is profitable unto all things. If you enjoyed the class, you can just put in the comment section and just tell me one thing that you were able to pick out from this session today. Already, I had fun sharing what I know with you. I am so glad that you also joined me here today. Don't forget to pre-order our latest book because pre-order pre-order will end right by what date are we on now? On the 9th. And once pre-order ends, please, we will not, because already we're doing like double the costs to actually do our printing, doubled in the time when pre-order started. All right. So we might not be able to keep it at that price. So please be here with us. All right. And just ensure that you pre-order so that we will be able to put all this together. It's not been with the rise in dollar, so everything is just going haywire. So we're hoping really that we'll be able to meet up with all this timeline. Thank you for sharing all the nuggets that you put out today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody. And I can see all the things that you learned being put in here. Share the video, tag your friends. Remember, what we're doing here is not just about ourselves. It's about a whole generation at large, right? It's about changing, everything that, it's happening. And how can we possibly, the best way to actually do that is to begin to raise children who can change the world for us. Parenting is one of the easiest ways. Parenting is one of the easiest ways to actually change our world. And it might be the only thing that you ever had to do when it comes to changing your world. So let's parent that child in a godly way. And remember, godliness is profitable unto all things. Have a good evening and thank you so much.